Hey, the last week I was definitely confronted with missing my friends, not going to school, not being a part of a workplace. How do you make friends as an adult? How do you do it? What I really appreciated about my friendships in Bali is this phenomenon called the gaze. G-A-Z-E, not G-A-Y-S. The way that you see someone can transform them. When you have a friend that really sees the best in you, and on your worst days, they remind you of your kind heart or your good humor. They're so generous in the way that they see you. That is the gaze. We all have hidden aspects of ourselves that are there already, but a certain person can reveal them and amplify them. For example, during the pandemic, I met someone who quite literally changed my life. A lot of people had creative awakenings during the pandemic, but I was in Bali and the island was shut down. There was no tourism, and that led me to the local music scene and jamming. This particular person was the first one to ever come to me and say, hey, you have a really good voice and you should try to write an original song. And because that person recognized this hidden aspect of me, I now call myself a singer-songwriter. And I felt safe to let that emerge, and I gave myself permission to let it emerge. It changed the whole course of my life. It quite literally shaped me. It just rearranged me. It was hard to let that person go, I think because I felt like I owed them something because they changed my life. But what I've now recognized is they didn't give me my singing talent. It was already there. They just amplified it. I'm grateful for them for bringing out what was already within me. I let them go with a lot of love in my heart. I'll give you another example. I've been really missing my friend Nadia. What I really admire about her is she's such a great conversationalist. She's so smart and she's so curious. She comes up with the best questions. If I come to her and I say, I've just had the most frustrating day, I hate the way that this played out and I'm feeling really bad about it, she's so great at helping unpack that and get to the bottom of it while also helping me to maintain self-compassion. She'll be like, oh, I see why that really bothered you because you have such a kind heart and you would never act that way. Or I see why you're putting all this pressure on yourself because you have high ambitions and you're very aspirational. And it's such a gift. And now when I'm having conversations with other people, I'm always like, what would Nadia say here? What question would Nadia come up with? And I think before Bali, I wasn't in touch with nature that much. I was more afraid of nature than anything. Nadia is such an earth goddess. She's so in tune with nature. We used to go on rice field walks together, and she would just pick wildflowers off the side of the road and make a mini bouquet. And she'd be like, oh, look at that passion fruit up there. It's so cute. And she was so observant. I'm speaking in the past tense, like she's not alive still. I swear she's alive. But she's so present. And just being in her company has brought out a part of me that's always existed. Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of here. It is safe for me to express this part of myself that wants to connect with nature and wants to love nature. I think it's important to consider when you're around someone, is their vision of me making me feel expanded, capable, or is their vision of me making me feel small? I'm a big dreamer and I love to brainstorm and I love to say my ideas out loud, and that's fine, right? I have creative energy and I like to share that with others. I was in a romantic relationship, and at the beginning of our relationship, I think that was a thing that he liked about me. We would brainstorm, and he's business-minded, so he had amazing ideas as well. Oh yeah, you could structure it like this, and this is how you could make money from it. But unfortunately, during that phase of my life, I was stuck. And a lot of the things that I was coming up with, I wouldn't really act on. I was just more entertaining those ideas. And it got to the point where he was really frustrated with me about it. And he said something along the lines of, I don't want to do this with you anymore and give you my ideas. You're not going to act on them. Or I remember I was feeling insecure about this, and I came to my friends and they were like, no, we love witnessing your excitement over your ideas. And maybe I just need friends that will engage in my delusion. And that's fine. I have something important to add here. In this example, I have this one trait, which is a lot of creative energy and a love of speaking my ideas out loud, okay? Then you had one person over here saying, okay, I'm tired of brainstorming with you. I'm not gonna do this with you anymore because it just frustrates me. And that's fair. It's fair to set a boundary. But he did take it one step further and would say things to me like, you're all talk. You never follow through. You're flaky. And that's where his vision of me was constricting. And ultimately, it made me question myself. It made me question, is my curiosity a sign of immaturity? Should I just grow up and pick something? And ultimately, that would be very inauthentic of me because I am a multi-passionate person and I love being a jack of all trades, and I'm probably not going to pick one thing ever in my life. That's where I appreciate that my friends took this same trait of mine and were able to speak kindness into me about it. The one gaze made me shrink. It made me feel not good enough, whereas the other gaze made me feel capable. And that is the power of the gaze, and it's so important to surround yourself with people that make you feel that expansion and that potential, and feed into your delusion sometimes, if that's what it takes. Because what is delusion? It's the belief that things can be better, believing beyond what's considered possible. I'm someone that's always using a healthy bit of delusion in my life to get myself to the places where I want to be. I want to be surrounded with friends that are equally as delusional in that aspect, like positive delusion. I want to read this quote from a C.J. Hauser essay that I read over the summer. She says, "It took a very long time for me to understand that while, yes, I was full of sins and flaws, being loved by a person who saw the worst in me wasn't the same as being honest and sorry about my failures. That it was possible to own and admit your mistakes without building a relationship around them. There's a difference between a person loving you for the person you really are and a person who sees the worst in you and relentlessly calls it out." I just think it's vital to reflect and take stock in your life. Who makes you feel more like yourself and who makes you feel less? It really comes down to that. Who sees your potential versus fixates on your flaws? Choose wisely who you allow to shape you. Don't let anyone dim your light. Having to start over and make friends as an adult, I want to surround myself with people that have the gaze, they're uplifting, and I want to give that too. A couple nights ago, I was coming home from a Halloween party and I got an UberShare, and there was another guy in the car, and we just started chatting. And there's always that awkward moment where you're like, is this gonna be a creeper? But he was super nice, and he shared with me that he had just gone out with himself for his birthday to a stargazing event. And I was like, wow, that is so cool that you just went completely solo for your birthday and you had the confidence to do that and to give that gift to yourself. And that was coming from a genuine place because I do stuff solo all the time. And when I see other people that do that, I think it's cool because it's hard to get over the apprehension of going to something alone. That's a topic for another day. But I gave that gaze very generously to him. And then before I knew it, he was mirroring that back to me. And I think that's maybe the trick. The trick in making friends is to give the gaze freely, lovingly, generously. Recognize the gifts in other people. Recognize the aspects of them that you admire and speak it out loud. If you want to build a better village, make yourself a better villager. It all starts here. This week, I just really wanted to talk on a topic, and I hope you found it valuable, and I hope that you will extend the gaze and continue celebrating people that celebrate you. It's getting dark. I think I'm going to go, but I'm just going to leave you guys with some outtakes of footage from my week. They're a little bit random. Hey, I just had a terrible realization. Yesterday I was riding my bike and I was in traffic. It was chaotic. I hit a bump in the road and I heard a sound like clanging metal. And I was like, oh my God, did a piece of my bike just break? That was my first thought. But I just realized that my watch must have come off because I can't find it anywhere. And I'm so upset. I just got this watch like a month ago and it was a proper chunk of change. And now it's probably down on the side of the road somewhere in Bushwick. For sure, it's just been pieces. Oh, that really sucks. I'm doing a lot of research into potentially doing a coaching training. After being in Bali and running into so many coaches there, I want to make sure that I'm properly trained and able to learn the tools and the structures to become a coach. They have programs down at NYU in Columbia, but they cost a lot of money. And on the Google Maps, I saw that there was this coaching business really close to where I live. So I messaged the guy and said, "Can I buy you a coffee? I won't take up more than 30 minutes of your time. Just want to pick your brain." This is the power of reaching out to people that are ahead of you. I have always found that people are very willing to share guidance, and he was very open to meeting me. We had a coffee. He's doing traditional coaching, but with his own unique twist where he is incorporating hypnosis. And it made me think how I've always wanted to find some way to integrate voice activation and singing into a coaching practice. Let me just paint the picture, okay? Y'all know I like to dream out loud. I help people to navigate change, right? That would be the goal of my coaching practice. I'm not trying to be like a business coach. I'm not, or who knows, now that I'm maybe a consultant. But I think it would be giving them supplemental exercises or maybe doing a warm-up in the coaching session where we're helping to move through emotions using the voice and opening up that channel. Very, very rough brainstorm at this point. There's so many crows outside of this window right now. I'm going to show you. Wow, their feathers are actually very iridescent. You see that? Walking through the most beautiful autumn park foliage and feeling all the feels. This is like prime environment for listening to Adrian Lenker. My favorite Adrian Lenker album is called Ours Were the Birds, and my favorite song is called Lighthouse. I was only 17. It's getting a little bit dark for my comfort, but almost home.
Store number 2. So, you want to ask yourself.
Wow. What's in the orange? What's in the thing there?
Take a picture around this.
Yeah.